So please welcome our first guest today. His name is Robert Crampton, and he's an Executive Director of the Youth Secretariat at the Department of Canadian Heritage for the Government of Canada. He is a speaker and advocate for mental health and is currently co-champion for the PCH Advisory Council on Disability. He has lived and worked in Japan and China and road-tripped across North America a few times. He holds a Master's of Arts degree from Carleton and a Bachelor's of Arts from McGill. Before he had his current title, he had one that would be more familiar to all of you. He was a teacher. He is really nice and really fun, and he is here to help us learn more about this document called a policy brief. It is a document that will help us make the case to decision makers about our concerns and help us make our recommendations better understood. Mr. Crampton, we welcome you to our Young Canadians Parliament. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you very much. And maybe you all realize this, but I wrote that introduction myself, that the part about being really nice and really smart and all that stuff. So you can decide for yourself if it's true or not. Okay, so what is a policy brief and why is it important? I'm going to make sure that I have my notes right next to me here. What is a policy brief? Why are they important? How do you create one and what goes into one? Okay.
Federal would be the most relevant.
Okay, here we go. You're all correct, but for different reasons. You're also all wrong. What do you mean I'm wrong? No, you're all right and you're all wrong, and here's why. Ready? So here's why you're right. Yes, federal talks about everybody, but do you know our Constitution says that the provinces of Canada have complete jurisdiction over health and education, for instance? So if you go and talk to your federal minister, to your national or your federal minister about health, you can only talk about certain things that they have power over. They have power over national responses to pandemics. They have power over research and drug approvals. They have power over certain things. If you go and talk to your provincial minister, they actually run the hospitals. They actually determine the amount that goes to each hospital. They actually determine what budget, how much money of your provincial taxes, how much goes to youth healthcare. If you go and talk to your municipal councillor or mayor, they're the ones who put things right into your cities, like your counseling services, a health center. Where will it be located? Will they have one in the downtown? They'll also talk about maybe, needles, free needles, or what are those called? Harm reduction sites, where drug addicts or youth who are addicted and who need help, they're the ones installing those. This is my point. Ready? Got your pens ready? Here you go. Make sure you know what power or what authorities the person you're talking to has. Make sure you're talking to the right person. Here's another little rule. You're always talking to the right person. Just make sure you talk about the right thing to that person. You can never go wrong talking to somebody. Just don't talk about what doesn't affect them or they have no control over or they can't help you with. Okay? That's really important. A lot of young people come and they talk to the federal government or they talk to this person. They talk, oh, we need to wrap up. Here we go. Last thing. So who supports you? That's what we talked about after. If I'm talking, let's say, to the federal minister of X, maybe I want to quote a federal organization. If I'm talking to a city councilor, maybe I want to talk about my whole neighborhood supports this. Okay. And who did you consult? Same types of things. Who did you consult? That helps make your argument strong. And lastly is your recommendation. Your recommendation is really just saying what your solution is, what the problem was, what your solution is, and why, more briefly at the end. Because sometimes these busy people can't read everything, so they'll skip right, and sometimes they already know the issues, so they'll skip right down to the recommendation and look at what you have to say. Okay, I think that's where I'll stop. Who learned at least something? Nice. Fantastic. Look at these hands. Somebody learned something. Oh my gosh, I'm so pleased. Thank you. You just made my Saturday. This is one single tier right here of happiness. Awesome. And thank you all for teaching each other, because in fact, in aggregate, you knew most of these answers. We just brought them all together. So thank you for being the young people that you are. Thank you for moving this stuff forward. Thank you for advocating for the environment, for mental health, for food insecurity. This stuff matters. It's really important. You are not the leaders of tomorrow. What? You're the leaders of today. Oh, mic drop. You're the leaders of today. Yes, you're also the leaders of tomorrow, but you're the leaders of today. So please make sure you remember that. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Crampton, for showing your knowledge with us today. We really appreciate your time here. And YCP, let's show Mr. Crampton some of our appreciation by putting up our thumbs up emojis or our heart emojis for Mr. Crampton. Thank you so much for joining us today. Your invisible tier. And all right, we have our learning done for today. Great job, everybody.